In the previous class, we talked about what is Selenium Grid, and we also seen a small architecture of Selenium Grid, how hub and nodes will communicate, and test code will be interacting to the hub, and hub will be redirecting the commands to the corresponding node, which is matched. And from there onwards, a session will be created between the test code and the node, and in the session, the code will be executed on the application. We already talked about Selenium Grid. Now in this class, we are going to discuss about how to start a hub and how to start a node, how to make communication between hub and node, and how can we start multiple nodes which can be connected to the hub. So all those things we are going to talk about now. And also when you are starting a hub or node, okay, you can give certain other parameters. We are also going to talk about that. And to start either hub or node, you need a Selenium server. You need a Selenium server standalone jar. Okay. To get the Selenium server standalone jar, you have to go to the Google page and you have to download that. So in the seleniumhq.org/download, you can see in the very beginning itself, you can able to see that Selenium standalone server. Okay. So this is the latest version of Selenium standalone server, that is 2.52.0. Just click on this and save the file. Let's copy the file and keep it into a different folder where you usually referring to it. Let's paste it here. I'm just removing the extra one here. That's fine. Now let's take this. Let's open a command prompt and go to the folder where you kept your Selenium server standalone jar. Okay, make sure you are on the same folder. You can see that Selenium server standalone 2.52.0. 2.48.2 is the older version. Let's work on the latest version. Java minus jar Selenium standalone server, that is 2.48.2. This is the latest version. Okay, and you have to start the Selenium server standalone. And we wanted to start a hub, right? We wanted to start a hub or node. Okay, let's start the hub first. Okay, first we have to start the hub, and for that you have to give a option minus role and type hub. It is starting a hub. To start the hub, you have to give the command java minus jar selenium server standalone version.jar minus role space hub. It says that Selenium Grid hub is up and running. Okay, we started the hub successfully. And I'm also starting couple of nodes in the same mission. Okay, you can start in the same mission or you can start the nodes in a different mission, depends on the infrastructure that you are having. But right now I'm only having one mission, so I'm planning to start two nodes in the same mission. You can start multiple nodes in the same mission or in the different missions, doesn't matter. But right now I'm going to start couple of nodes on the same mission. So let's open the command prompt once again and go to the folder. So this is to start the node. type push t, and go to the folder where you can able to see the Selenium server standalone jar. Type java minus jar Selenium. Okay, and now the role is you are going to start a node. Now the role should be minus role node. Okay, and this node should be connected to the hub. Should be connected to the hub. If you see that all the nodes are connected to the hub. Okay, so the test class, I mean the test code gives the request to the hub, and hub will be finding the right node. To do that all the nodes should be connected to the hub. That is the fundamental thing in the Selenium grid. Make sure all the nodes are connected to the hub. Okay, there should be always only one hub and can be multiple nodes, and on the node your test code will be executed. Also remember that. Now how can I connect, how can I make interaction between node and hub? How can I make sure that this node will be connected to the hub? Okay, for that you have another option, minus hub. Minus hub, let's make sure I'm giving the right command. Yeah, it's minus hub, and the hub URL, and the hub URL. And where do you get the hub URL? The hub URL, you can get it from here itself, from the hub itself. If you clearly observe this one, it says that nodes should be registered to this particular URL. Okay. So when you start the hub, it will clearly says that all the nodes can be connected to this given URL. It is already given the URL. Take this one and register. Make sure you have given the same URL. Okay, now enter. The node is registered to the hub and it is ready to use. And on the hub side you can see that registered a node http colon 192.168.0.101 Now let's open the hub URL. Let's open the hub URL. That is this is the hub IP address and 4444 where the hub is started. So let's click on the console. So I have accessed on the browser I have used the hub URL. Okay, remember. So when I use the hub URL on the browser, you can see that, okay, there is one node is connected here. And the node ID is 192.168.0.101. This is the node IP value, and it is the port of the node. Okay, so now in my grid there is one hub and one node is connected. So let's start another node. Minus role, and I wanted to start another node, and the hub URL is, this is the hub URL. Grid slash register. So it has thrown an exception. It says that exception, grid configuration exception, the specified hub is not valid. Minus hub, minus, okay. Let's make sure what you're okay. So we have given wrong configuration. Okay, minus hub and URL, hub URL. Says that launching a Selenium grid. Again, it is failed. It says that Selenium is already running and Selenium is already running on port 5555. So this is very important to know why this exception is occurred. Okay, I know this exception is going to come, but even though I started this way to know why this exception is occurred. Okay, when you start the hub, by default, a hub will be started. When you start the hub, by default, a hub will be started in the port called 5555. Hub will be started on the port called 5555. When you start a node, the node will be started. The node will be started with the port 4444. Okay, I'm very sorry. Hub will be started on the port 4444 and node will be started on the port 5555. There is a node already started with the port value that is 5555. Now you are again starting a node, okay, and that is also by default is going to be start with the port 5555, and that's the reason you got this particular exception. Remember when you start a hub, by default hub will be started on a port 4455. When you start a hub, by default, a hub will be started on a port 4444. When you start a node, by default, a node will be started on a port 5555. Now there is a node which is already started with 5555 and you are starting another node. This is node 1 and you are starting another node without specifying anything. Okay, and this node is also by default tries to connect with the port 5555, but that port is already occupied with the node 1. That's the reason you are getting this exception. If you see that Selenium is already running on a port 5555, so it is asking you to choose another port number. Okay, you can go with any port number. Make sure it is a 4-digit. Okay, I will give 5566. To start either a node or a hub in a different port. Remember, to start either a node or port, to start either a hub or node in a different port, minus port and the port number 5566. Now you can see that it is launching a Selenium grid. The node is registered to the hub and it is ready to use. Let's go to the grid console. You can see there are two nodes are connected in the grid. There are two nodes are connected in the grid. And each node you can able to open 5 Firefox browsers and you can able to one Internet Explorer and you can able to open 5 Chrome browsers. Okay, it is for WebDriver and the other part is for remote control. But anyway, we are going to work with WebDriver. We don't need to bother about the remote control. So in this node, you can able to open 5 Firefox browser and 1 Internet Explorer and 5 Chrome browsers. Altogether, you can able to work with 11 browsers of different combination if you want it. In the node 2 also same thing. Okay, and if you see that this is the node ID that is called node URL. Okay, and which is started with the port 5555 and the OS Windows 10, and this is node 2 that is also started with the same IP configuration, but the port is 5566 and OS is Windows 10. So that's how you need to start hub and node, and you have to register the node with the corresponding hub.